What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode number 722 of Underground Sports Philadelphia, presented by the city of Vineland. It's your boy KB coming at you from Underground Studios and joining me via Bloomington, Indiana, as he does every single Thursday episode, gracing your eardrums and your eyeballs if you're watching on the YouTube, the one and only HK Harrison Krementz. What's going on, brother?
We're doing great. A bunch of great news for the Philadelphia Eagles this week. March Madness is shaping up. Currently, Indiana is one of the last four teams to get a bye, so we're feeling good about that, even though we lost last night to Oregon. And I mean, we just recapped Daredevil, which always brightens the mood, even though it was some very dark episodes, which you can listen to on Streamer Season. So,
and hey, Philadelphia exists in the MCU, confirmed.
Officially. And the villain has some bad taste in cheesesteaks and just bad taste in general. So
the cheesesteak discussion, the great cheesesteak discussion of 2025 in the MCU, which begs the question, do the 2024-2025 Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl champions exist in the MCU? Leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/underground sports Philadelphia, and let us know. If you're a Daredevil and Philly sports fan, let us know if the Eagles winning the Super Bowl is canon to the MCU now.
Joe Shane, you bum. I want you out of my city.
Saquon Barkley should have never left this great city.
He was a New York Giant, and I loved him. And you had to ship him off to those goddamn Philadelphia Eagles.
In an alternate universe, Kingpin buys the Giants instead of becoming the mayor.
Yes. First thing I would like to do as owner of the New York Giants, Mr. Shane, step forward. This is what happens when you disappoint me.
Bashes his head in a car door.
No, bashes it up against the seat he was sitting on when he dealt Saquon to the Eagles.
In the MCU, Kingpin is the reason that Hard Knocks offseason got canceled. We got
cut the cameras.
We got a good show for you guys, but before we get into all of it, make sure you're following us on the socials at Underground PHI across the board. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I know I say it every single week, but guys, it genuinely does help the show continue to grow when you subscribe on Apple and Spotify. Leave us a 5-star review. It goes a long way for helping not only this show continue to grow and get to new ears and audiences, but also all of our shows on our network, from Underground Circuit, who just had one of their biggest weekends in their show's history down at IndyCar. Whole bunch of content going to be coming out over the next couple weeks from that. Top Bins with myself, Harrison, and Mark every single week. Streamer Season with myself, Harrison, and Christian. And, of course, OTB with your boy and Deej, and the Get in the Hole boys doing their thing as well. So keep subscribing, and subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show twice a week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. We are currently a very nice 69 subscribers away from our next goal of 1,100. Let's get there before March Madness tips off in a couple weeks. Let's make that happen. youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Leave a like on the video, drop a comment in the comment section, and click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. And this show is proudly presented by the city of Vineland, and we have quite an awesome mayor. Not even close to the level of demonstrative that Kingpin is in the MCU. Shout out to Mayor Finucci. He is the man. And the City of Vineland Municipal Calendar, features city-organized, city-sponsored, and city-affiliated events that are of public interest. The calendar, which is accessible at vinelandcity.org, is a good way for residents and visitors to build awareness, remain engaged with city government, and participate in local events. You can also follow the City of Vineland on social media via their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube pages. And through these tools, you can stay connected to the community and get important announcements about programs and services offered by the city. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast.
I'm Mayor Anthony Finucci. If you're looking for the right location, think Vineland, New Jersey. Our pro-business approach is supported by financial incentives, workforce development programs, and other resources which can give your business a competitive edge. Whether you're starting a new business or expanding to new markets, our business environment, infrastructure, accessibility, and quality of life make Vineland an ideal location. More information about how we can help your business grow can be found at vinelandcity.org. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as I mentioned on Monday's episode, it is always a fascinating time of year, the month of March, that is, because it's Howie season. And we will never fully be able to go inside the mind of the ever so genius Howie Roseman. But he always has you thinking. He always has you on your toes, and you never really know what is coming in the off seasons when Howie Roseman's running the show. And I think to the surprise of quite a few people, the first domino of the off season for the Philadelphia Eagles fell just a few days ago, and that is the 2-year, $41+ million extension for who should have been the MVP, who was the offensive player of the year, and Super Bowl champion, Saquon Barkley.
That was huge. It was something I wasn't expecting to happen this offseason, but I am so happy that it did. Not only is he the highest paid running back in NFL history now, but it is a much more cap friendly deal than the one he was originally on. He goes from what, 14.4 million a year to 8 point something a year.
It went from like 13.95 on the cap hit to about like 6.8 and some change or something. It literally cut his cap hit in half for this offseason.
Howie is gearing up to make some big re-signings, I should say. And having that to be the first domino to fall sets us up so well for the remainder of this offseason. It feels like now we can re-sign more than maybe just one or two of the guys we needed to re-sign. Maybe we can re-sign all four of the big names. Which
I think it's such a fascinating signing, not from the standpoint of like, did Saquon deserve? He absolutely deserves all the money. But not only is he the NFL's first $20 million+ per year running back in history, he also has the ability to earn an additional $15 million in incentives and escalators. And the deal included $36 million fully guaranteed at signing. I think the craziest part about all of this, and I say crazy in the happiest way possible, is Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, and the Eagles signed Saquon Barkley, won a Super Bowl, and then gave him a contract extension all in the same league year, because the new NFL league year has not started yet. So all in the same league year, Saquon, 1 year into a 3-year deal, gets a 2-year extension and wins a Super Bowl and Offensive Player of the Year, and became the 9th player in NFL history to rush for 2,000+ yards in a season, all before a new NFL league year began.
Yeah, it's crazy. And This might go down as one of the greatest signings in Philadelphia Eagles history, if not already the greatest signing
I
in
think
Philadelphia
I'll
history.
I'll I'll correct you. I think it's one of the best overall signings in Philly sports history.
Yeah. It,
Like, we
he
have
got a
our
sick-
Zach Wheeler
yeah,
signing, which I think is one of the greatest free agent signings of all time. We
Bryce Harper.
have Bryce Harper. We have, however you want to kind of look at it, Moses Malone, one of the
Yeah.
greatest, signings ever. Um, there have been quite a few like big blockbuster signings in Philly sports history.
There have been quite a few
S-
duds as well. DeMarco Murray.
Absolutely. I
Uh,
think the Saquon signing, when it's all said and done, is going to go down as one of the top, bare minimum, a top 12 free agent signing in Philadelphia sports history.
Screw
And I don't
Philadelphia.
think
This might be one of the greatest free agent signings in history, period, of any sport. Just think about the impact he had in 1 year. 2,000 yards. Most all-purpose yards in a season, I believe, right? That was it. Or no, most rushing yards in a season, including the playoffs.
including the postseason, yeah.
Super Bowl champion,
Offensive
multiple
player of the
200
year,
rushing games,
MVP candidate.
MVP candidate, OPOY, and really turned the Eagles' offense around. He's him, and he deserved more.
And it's crazy. Like now, like, not that I ever thought Saquon was going anywhere. Like a 3-year deal is a 3-year deal in
Yeah,
the NFL. And you see, where Saquon is in his career. Um, he's 28, just turned 28 on Super Bowl Sunday. So like he was gonna be here through his age 30 season. Now he's here effectively. When you look at the overall landscape of how running backs kind of go, like Saquon is here for the remainder of his prime.
yes. And we are so lucky that he is a Philadelphia Eagle. Joe Shane deserves a statue built in Philadelphia.
And I think it's one of those things too that is fascinating when it comes to the NFL because, we talk about contract extensions and everything all the time in sports. I think this contract extension for Saquon Barkley, and people have been bringing it up too, but I even said it, when it happened, this is the most earned contract, I think, in the last quarter century of me watching sports. Like me being
Yes.
privy to the knowledge of like how sports contracts work and everything to a degree. I'm not saying I'm all knowing in that capacity, but me being privy to like, oh, that's how like free agency works and that's how contracts and caps. This is the most earned contract extension that I can think of in my lifetime in any sport, any team, any player. It's crazy.
Yes. And uh, it's so beautiful to see him doing it in Midnight Green. It really is.
And it's so like full circle too because
He's a Philly guy.
and not even that, it's Saquon was at the forefront of the running backs are undervalued movement. Like he was the guy like leading that charge and everyone tried to clown him for it because he had the injury history and they were saying you're the poster child for the opposite side of the argument. And he held that Zoom meeting with all of the running backs and everything and it was like, "Oh my god, our running back's going to unionize in the NFL." And then just 2 years later, he puts on a season of a lifetime
Mhm.
and paves the way for, along with Derrick Henry as well, for running backs to have value in the NFL again. And I think, you see James Cook tweeting about, Saquon's deal and saying, that's great business, like great deal. Like he wants to get paid, obviously. And
Yeah.
I think you're going to start seeing, especially in free agency and this NFL draft, you look at who are free agents coming up. Um, in just a couple days' time, in terms of the running back position, I'm pulling up Spotrac right now. it's going to be fascinating to see what guys like Najee Harris and guys like Aaron Jones, who signed a 1-year deal last offseason, Raheem Mostert, who is a guy who is very injury prone, somebody like Nick Chubb, Alexander Madison, Jamal Williams, where does he go coming off his contract that he signed with the Saints? Somebody like a J.K. Dobbins. There's a lot of not premier running backs. I would say, Aaron Jones probably leads the way, followed by Najee Harris, but they're probably like your B tier running back at best, however you want to value it. And that's no slight at them. They're very talented, but you also look at their ages. Aaron Jones is 30 years old. Najee Harris is almost 27. Nick Chubb is 29, coming off another massive injury. How does that impact his free agent market? It's going to be fascinating to see what some of these running backs get paid in free agency and by what teams.
Yeah. And this is going to open the door for a lot more bigger names to get massive contracts in terms of running back. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Derrick Henry got a nice little extension in Baltimore. James Cook is going to get himself paid.
Joe Mixon.
I'm sure that the duo of Sonic and Knuckles are going to get some kind of extension out in Detroit. This is a game changer. And funnily enough, it's not the craziest re-signing the Philadelphia Eagles made this week.
Yeah, we'll get into that in just a bit too. And, I'm just looking at not only this, but it's going to be fascinating to see where somebody like an Ashton Genty goes in the draft.
I hope he doesn't fall to Dallas. I want to root for this kid so bad, and him winding up in Dallas would be a dagger. I want him to go to Denver.
I don't know if he makes it to Dallas.
No, I don't think so.
With the way that drafts are changing every which way, I'm on Tankathon right now. Shout out to them. They've got Ashton Genty going number 6 to the Raiders right now in their latest mock draft. And I think Dallas now has to refocus as well, because obviously they had their best offensive lineman retire this week. So they got to look offensive line. But it is fascinating kind of just looking at, how things are shaking out that way and where somebody like an Ashton Genty could go in the draft, where some of these other running backs in the draft will end up, and how teams will value the running back position moving forward now that Saquon has kind of revitalized a position that, like I said, just a couple years ago was viewed as almost a dead position in the NFL in terms of giving money to it. And now it's just a new resurgence across the board. And it's going to be fascinating to watch it all unfold. And I think you look at Howie Roseman, he makes the Saquon deal happen. Then as we record this today on a Wednesday, the news flies in, all pun intended. I told y'all he wasn't going anywhere. I tried to make that clear as day.
The bald eagle has landed.
Zack Baun is back. 3 years, $51 million, $34 million guaranteed. I told you all, Howie Roseman was not going to give Bill Bergey's medallion to just anybody. And the fact that he gave it to Zack Baun told me that was the first signal of, we want you here long term. And the Eagles did just that. They don't let him hit the market. He re-signs where he belongs. Zack Baun talked about it openly, how he felt like he was a part of a family here and wanted to be here. Zack Baun's not signing babies at a Super Bowl parade if he doesn't want to be here.
That was one of my favorite parts of the Super Bowl parade. He sees that little kid. He's like, hey, make sure I get it on your hat and not you, and we are good. Go Birds.
And I'm just thrilled that a player who wants to be here and wanted to be here gets that opportunity.
Yes. And let's be real, there was no other team that was going to appreciate him the way that the Philadelphia Eagles appreciate and love him. Like, This is a man who was made for Philadelphia since he was drafted into the NFL. Nobody realized it until he finally showed up here. I still don't know what the Saints were doing putting him as an edge rusher. Thank goodness for
They
Vic
were they were really
Fangio.
using him on special teams, honestly. He was never
Yeah,
really playing defensive snaps. He was playing a lot of special teams. And I
no,
remember
wasted talent.
my guy Ralph Malbrough, friend of the program who covers the Saints Happy Hour podcast, he and I talk all the time about like the connection that the Eagles and the Saints have with like players going back and forth and everything. And I asked him, I was like, I hit him with like the Kowalski analysis when we signed Zack Baun. And he said he's a guy that if you let him go after the quarterback, he's going to thrive. And I think he's much more than that. And I think Vic Fangio realized that. And I genuinely think last offseason when the Eagles signed him, like it was kind of known that Vic Fangio wanted Zack Baun. Like he was on his list of priorities. And I mean, you couldn't Zack Baun, like if he continues, even if he plays like at an 85% clip of what he played at last year, like again, one of the greatest signings of Howie Roseman's career could be
Yep,
Zack Baun.
he really could be, and he just played out of his goddamn mind this entire year. Proved to the Eagles that they did not make a mistake when they decided to sign him, and he got handsomely rewarded for it. Fully deserved, and I cannot wait to see him wearing Bill Bergey's medallion again next year, rocking that big 53. He's just that guy. He really is that guy.
And I also thought even outside of like the medallion and him wanting to be here type stuff, like you had to re-sign Zack Baun simply because Nakobe Dean being injured, he's not going to be ready to start the season. To not have at least one linebacker who has full-blown like knowledge of how the system works, ready to
Yep.
rock and roll in this system would have been organizational malpractice. Like you
Yep.
can't go into another season with two new starters at a position. So having Baun there, whether he's next to Jeremiah Trotter Jr., whether Oren Burks comes back, whether it's a linebacker in the draft, while Nakobe is still rehabbing and getting back to full strength, is so pivotal for just the early go of the season for the Eagles on defense and what they're able to do at the linebacker position.
Yeah. And having him come back, being able to teach the young guns who are coming into the linebacker position, the Kobe Dean, the I'm tired. I'm losing my mind, but
Trot
yeah, the
Jr.
Kobe Dean, Trotter Jr. Uh, him being the quote unquote veteran in this linebacker position is going to go a long way for our defense continuing to be the best defense in the NFL.
At 28 years old.
Veteran at 28 years old, which is insane. I
I'm
love it.
very happy Zack Baun's back. And you know what that means, guys? You should crack open an ice called Kenwood Beer. It's not Victory Monday per se, but it is something to celebrate, and that is with our friends at Kenwood Beer. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Maryland, New Jersey, and Delaware areas. You can also get it at your local liquor store in those markets. Again, that's kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny Finder. Must be 21 or older to do so. And of course, please drink responsibly. Harrison, we were talking before we started recording. And obviously, we brought it up a little bit on the last episode you and I recorded, and I brought it up in full length on Monday's episode. I'm addicted to mock drafts, and
Yes.
more specifically, I'm addicted to using the Pro Football Network. No free
Yes.
ads, but they do a great job with their tech. And I said this, the Pro Football Network mock draft simulator might be one of the greatest pieces of technology in terms of draft tech that I have ever stumbled upon. It is truly something that I am addicted to. and I can't get enough of it. It has me in a stranglehold. I think I've done like at least 15 mock drafts a day since I stumbled upon this thing. And I brought it up on Monday. It's helping me because I'm not a college football guy. Like, see, like you went to Indiana, so you have a team to root for. I went to small D3 Rowan and community college. I didn't have college football to like get behind. And part of me is like, damn, that sucks. But part of me was like, I just don't have that passion because I don't like all of the rules of college football either. But this is like my time when I like, and I do it a bunch on OTB as well because I can't stand college lacrosse rules. Like it's too slow for me. I like the pro game, and DJ always makes fun of me. So he does his typical big board of draft prospects, and I do what I call my YouTube big board that I borrowed the term from Spike Eskin on the rights to Ricky Sanchez that he does with basketball. So I kind of do the same thing. I just like look and see what people are saying and names that are attached to the Eagles. But this mock draft simulator is helping me curate guys I really want to see the Eagles draft. Now, pending any Myles Garrett trade rumors, and obviously now Max Crosby is off the board because he signed an extension today with the Raiders to stay in Vegas. And this is pending, Milton Williams potentially coming back. I have the guy that I would love the Eagles to draft, and that is Kenneth Grant from the University of Michigan, defensive tackle. I think he is going to be a star. I have some other backup options if Kenneth Grant is off the board, but we're going to do another mock draft just like we did. Now I'm more dialed in on guys that I really want. So we're going to try and attempt to get the entire list of my guys. We're going to go through a couple trades if they make sense. If not, and this is the thing I've been learning too, Harrison. Eagles have the 32nd pick. If Grant's on the board, I don't make a trade in the first round unless I'm feeling risky. And sometimes that stupid franchise in Dallas offers me the 44th pick and then extra picks later in the draft, so I get more compensation. And if I'm feeling it, I'll do it. And 90% of the time, Kenneth Grant's still been on the board, which is fun. So here we go. Another mock draft. And I've been thinking about doing Mock Draft Monday like live streams leading into the draft and just going live on YouTube and doing a shit ton of these with the people. So we'll see how it goes. So looking right now, here's the fun part. The other guys that I like potentially for the Eagles at pick 32, they're all on the board right now, the top four. Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle from Ohio State. Walter Nolan, who is probably my number 2 in this position behind Kenneth Grant from Ole Miss. He's another defensive tackle. Donovan Ezeriruku. Apologies to Donovan. He's an edge rusher from Boston College. And then Kenneth Grant. They're all on the board right now. We have 3 trade offers. I can already tell you I'm going to decline one, and it's from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's pick 53, pick 120, and a Tampa Bay 2026 second-round pick. That moves me too far down in the draft. I won't be able to get any of those 4 guys. Sorry, Tampa. The next one, same thing. I'm not going to be able to get any of these guys, plus they're asking for an additional pick. They want pick 32 and 129, the Kansas City Chiefs do, for pick 63, pick 66, and a 2026 Kansas City second-round pick. Sorry about it.
Anyway. We don't deal with terrorists.
Here's the fascinating one. The Dallas Cowboys have offered pick 44 and pick 76 in exchange for pick 32. All 4 of my big pristine guys are on the board here. I'm tempted to take this simply because it's a profit gain in terms of draft capital. It's 2 top 100 picks in exchange for 1. And if one of the guys goes, there's a good shot moving down 12 spots, I can still get one of those 4 big names.
Yeah, why not? Do it.
So here we go. The Dallas Cowboys did not take one of our guys, so we don't have to worry about that. Walter Nolan ends up going 34 to the Giants. Donovan Ezeriruku, apologies to Donovan, goes 36 to the Saints, who they had to trade for that pick with the Jaguars. And then right before our pick, Kenneth Grant goes to the Texans. God damn it. And then Tyleik Williams is still on the board, which
Snag.
is a benefit for us.
Yep.
So we take Tyleik Williams here at 44. That's a win. One of our big four still available to us, and we still profited in the trade with the Cowboys. The Jets and Commanders are offering us trades. The Commanders trade offer is dog water, and the Jets, I don't like that package either, so I'm going to reject both of those. So we're picking here at pick 64. Players on the board are pretty fascinating. Unfortunately, one of my guys, I believe, is off the board that I typically pick at this spot, and he went far earlier than I anticipated, and that is tight end from LSU, Mason Taylor. He's somebody I would love to see the Eagles grab. He went pick 41 to the Bears. So here at pick 64, this is new territory for me in terms of players that are available. Now, I know you hate Purdue, but somebody I have been gaining an affinity towards is 6'4", 303-pound offensive tackle Marcus Bow from Purdue.
Okay.
He's a dog. He's a center, but he has the ability to play across the line. He projects more as a guard in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I like him a lot in this spot. The other player that,
is CJ West still available?
CJ West. He's available later in the draft, yes. He's like the 143rd. I sometimes find myself picking him. He's making his way onto my like mid-round my guys list.
He had a phenomenal pro day at the combine. And he's a dog.
He's fun, he's fun late in those mid rounds. If the Eagles end up going edge rusher, say, I would like to see them scoop him up, or there's another defensive tackle as well that's later on in the draft that I do like as well. I'm going to take Marcus here from Purdue because the only other player that I really like in this position is Emory Jones, 6'5", 315-pound tackle from LSU.
Yeah.
He is a guy that's going to take a little development. He's a developmental prospect, which makes sense for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Which now I'm like looking at it, I'm like, I might take Emory Jones here. A little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, potentially. You know what? To appease you and your hate for Purdue, I'm going to take Emory Jones at 64.
There we go. I like
As we're now back on the clock at pick 76, acquired from the Dallas Cowboys. Some players here that I have been gaining an affinity towards.
Yes.
We look at a player like Kyle Kennard, an edge rusher from South Carolina. We also look at a player like Kevin Winston Jr. from Penn State. He's a safety. Here is the player info on him from Pro Football Network. Winston has showcased elite playmaking ability, excelling in pursuit, tracking, and tackling. His instincts in coverage and tackle security highlight his potential as a refined prospect with the tools to thrive in the NFL for the next decade.
Ooh. Okay.
The other players on the board here that I sometimes consider taking as another defensive tackle, but since we got a tackle with our first pick, don't really feel the obligation just yet. Ashton Giolat is an edge rusher from Louisville, who's another player I like. The other player I like that potentially could be on the board at pick 96 is Gunnar Helm, the tight end from Texas, since we missed out on the tight end from LSU. Now, Gunnar Helm has fallen just a smidge because he did get injured at the combine. He sprained his ankle pretty bad on a false start in his 40-yard dash. In real life, I think that could work out for the Eagles where Gunnar Helm could be available for them at a spot in this area, and they end up with their tight end of the future there. I like Gunnar Helm a lot. I do think we can potentially gamble because there's a lot of players ahead of them, and we pick again in 20 picks. Kevin Winston Jr. is a player that I think if he's on the board, even in real life for Howie at the safety position, you kind of have to take him.
Okay.
So I'm going to go.
I say go with Winston at this point and see if Gunnar Helm stays on the board.
I'm going to take Kevin Winston Jr. at pick 76.
Yep.
Gunnar Helm is taken right before our next pick. Goes to the Jets at pick 95. What I also like using this mock draft tech for is kind of seeing where in the range these players are going. It's like, okay, in real life, that player could be available for the Eagles to take. Now, the Jets did trade in front of us with the Chiefs, of course, to get Gunnar Helm. So that sucks. But we do have trade offers now on the board from two teams. The Carolina Panthers are offering pick 110 and pick 144 for pick 96 and a 2026 Philadelphia 7th round pick. And then the Indianapolis Colts are offering pick 116, an Indianapolis 4th round pick and 5th round pick in 2026 in exchange for pick 96 and a 2026 6th round Eagles pick. I'm going to decline both of them because I don't see the benefit in either one.
It didn't sound like there was any real benefit in either of those.
Right. Now, we're at pick 96. Some players here. Kyle Kennard still on the board, the edge rusher from South Carolina. I like that. Another player that is on the board that I like is Jordan Birch, the edge rusher from Oregon. Jack Beck is on the board, the receiver from TCU. And another player that I've really been gaining an affinity for in this range, if I have a pick, is the offensive guard from Georgia, Dylan Fairchild.
Ooh. Again, we got to start thinking about Lane Johnson's replacement.
Which we did take Emory Jones,
the
LSU offensive lineman, which makes me want to think, we don't know if Josh Sweat is gone right now. We don't know if Milton Williams is gone right now. Kyle Kennard is the 74th overall player on the draft board here on PFN. We're at pick 96. Kyle Kennard's still available. Kind of get an edge rusher here at pick 96 and have 4 top 100 players there. I think I'm going to go Kyle Kennard at the edge rusher.
Yeah, I like that.
So then we move to round 4 at pick 129. Here are some of the players on the board that make sense in terms of where we have drafted and players we could take. So corner, definitely position of need now with Darius Slay. His future coming back to the Birds kind of in question. James Bradbury gone. And Avonte Maddox, a free agent. Jacob Parrish from Kansas State is available. We also look at some players here. We still don't have a tight end. Tight end from Clemson, Jake Briningstool, available as well. And we also have a couple of your Indiana boys on the board. They're a little bit further down from where we are. CJ West and Trey Wedding, the offensive lineman from Indiana, available here as well. But again, we do have we have a couple more picks, pick 162, 166, and 169. Those players typically could end up falling because it is a deep draft for offensive line depth and defensive tackles.
Yep.
I'm kind of looking at Jacob Parrish as a potential pick.
I like that.
He is a little small. He's 5'9". He plays the run really well. I don't hate it though. I think we're gonna go Jacob Parrish here at pick 129.
I like that. Go with that.
So now we move to pick 162, and the Browns are offering us a trade that I'm going to decline because it pays us no benefit. So still on the board here. One thing that we don't have is the tight end position. Granted, I'm looking at things here. Mitchell Evans is still available, the tight end from Notre Dame. He could be available in one of these next 3 picks. I don't hate that.
Yeah.
Your boy CJ West is still on the board, along with Riley Mills, defensive tackle from Notre Dame, who I have gained an affinity for, even though I can't stand Notre Dame. Miles Frazier is another offensive lineman who I really like and in real life would love the Eagles to draft. 6'5", 317-pound interior offensive lineman. Fits the bill if Mekhi Becton ends up leaving. Another offensive lineman, Jake Majors, is somebody I like from Texas. And I don't know. I'm conflicted here. Where do you see the position of need being for the Eagles? And I also think linebacker is something that we need to draft here as well.
What I would say, yeah, something on the line, probably defensive line.
I'll
Feels right.
appease you and take your boy. I'll go CJ
Yeah,
West here.
Take CJ.
And now at pick 166, we can look here, and we have Miles Frazier still on the board. We have a player like Nick Nash, the wide receiver from San Jose State, who I like a lot as well. Mitchell Evans is on the board, the tight end. I think
you got to take Mitchell Evans.
And I'm looking here. There's also Jay Higgins, the linebacker from Iowa, who I also have gained an affinity for. But you're saying Jake Higgins?
Yeah. Might as well take our tight end just because we're going to need a backup.
Or I'm sorry, Mitchell Evans is the tight end. Jay Higgins is the linebacker, which
I'm saying Mitchell Evans.
We can go linebacker here, get no, we can't because oh no, we can. Where's he at? Where did he go? There he is, Jay Higgins. We'll take the linebacker. Some interesting stuff there. Non-traditional draft, I would say, from what I typically go through on the PFN draft simulator, but it's a ton of fun to go through. So the overall final results here, we got Tyleik Williams at pick 44, Emory Jones at pick 64, Kevin Winston Jr. at pick 76, Kyle Kennard at pick 96, Jacob Parrish at pick 129, CJ West at pick 162, Mitchell Evans at pick 166, and Jay Higgins at pick 169.
Okay. All right. I like that.
Now, I do have some fun news that came across the timeline this week that pertains to not only the Eagles, but to me and the show. Philadelphia Eagles allegedly had an informal meeting with Vineland, New Jersey native, Rutgers University's own linebacker, Tyreem Powell.
Ooh. I like that.
Tyreem is that's like my little brother right there. I've known Tyreem for so long. I covered his entire high school career. We have been boys for a very long time. It would bring me so much joy if Howie, in the late rounds, brings Tyreem home, where he grew up an Eagles fan, and he gets to don the midnight green. And I think Tyreem, it's fascinating because I'll never forgive your Indiana Hoosiers for injuring Tyreem a couple years ago when he was a top 50 draft prospect.
Sorry.
But he's working back from injury, and I think he's going to do most of his drills and such at Rutgers Pro Day. He did get his wingspan measured, though. Tyreem's got a 6'10" wingspan.
Oh, damn.
At 6'4", 6'5".
Damn.
He's got an offensive lineman's wingspan. He's a big boy in terms of height. He's got the wingspan. He's so talented and athletic, and I would love nothing more than to be able to purchase a Tyreem Powell jersey and have it and support my boy. through and through. I love the Powell family. They're one of the nicest families ever. And if the Eagles are able to swing that, Howie, I would be forever indebted. Forever indebted if you bring Tyreem home.
He's got to do it, right?
It makes so much sense. He would be
Yeah.
such a good special teams player as he works his way back and finding his footing in the NFL. I think it would be a genius move to bring Tyreem home.
Yes, I agree.
So fingers crossed, everyone. Let's manifest Tyreem Powell to the birds. I wonder where he sits now that the combine has kind of come and gone. He was the 279th ranked player on PFN's website prior to the combine. And now he sits at 286, and I think that's simply because he didn't participate at the combine. So makes it even easier to bring him home. But I would love that. Nothing more. And you know what else I love, Harrison? I love 47 brand.
Yes, sir.
47 brand is delivering the hottest styles of headwear as we get set for baseball season. They've got amazing Eagles headwear, Flyers, the basketball team. Their NASCAR collection, I know I say it every ad read, their NASCAR collection is some of the sickest merch you will ever see. Gear up for your favorite team. I'm rocking the Phillies 47 brand right now. I love the hitch style of snapback. It is my favorite style of hat. It's my go-to. And 47 brand is truly the best. Use our link in the description and get free shipping on all orders with our friends at 47 brand when you join the 47 family today. Again, use our link and get free shipping on all orders from our friends at 47. And we thank 47 for being a proud partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Harrison, let's shift to the baseball diamond. Spring training fully underway. And speaking of South Jersey natives, Buddy Kennedy is just fucking raking this spring.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Hit another 2-run homer today. And my boy is raking this spring. I am blown away by where the power is coming and just the confidence he's got. And not that Buddy's never been able to hit for power. He's hit for power a ton in his career for as long as I've known him. But 2 home runs this spring, 17 at-bats. You know, it's limited action, so the batting average isn't really reflecting, but he's got an 888 on base plus slugging. I think Buddy's making a decent case for himself to be at the back end of the Phillies bench.
Absolutely. If he's hitting the way he's hitting and that continues up, we'll have to see. But I like the way the Phillies are looking in the preseason. I'm just waiting for opening day.
And then the interesting thing that came out today got picked up by a bunch of outlets and such. Bryce Harper told The Athletic in an interview that was published Wednesday that he would be open to moving back to right field if the Phillies wanted to bring in a superstar first baseman.
Ooh.
Said, quote, just in case a guy was available at first that we needed to get, I'd be more than open to it if we had a guy like that who was going to change our lineup or change the demeanor of our team. They like me at first base, but I'd go out there to have a guy who was going to play first and hit 35 or 40 homers.
Yeah. That's a good sign.
He said, when Pete Alonso was on the block still, I kind of sat there and was like, hey, why not? When we talked about it, I kind of just reiterated to the Phillies and Scott Boras that I'm willing to move out there if it's going to help us. I love playing first base. It's been great, but if it's going to help us win, I'd go back out there.
Yeah, I like that. Bring him on back.
Which raises the question. Pete Alonso obviously re-signed with the Mets, and I'm glad Pete Alonso's not here. He's a big old dork. Looks like a sneech. He could be available, though, after this season if he opts out of his 2-year deal. and then scheduled to become a free agent after failing to reach an extension with his team this offseason. Potential free agent next year is one Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Ooh. I would be interested to see if we can really help turn Vladdy's bat back around because he's a real hit or miss when it comes to his at bats recently. Like either he's on a tear or he's swinging at the most obvious balls in the world.
Which is
So,
very on brand for just his fan. Like if you watch Vladimir Guerrero Sr., that's
yeah.
what he did. But Vladdy last year hit 323, 30 home runs, 103 RBIs, and had almost 200 hits.
Yeah. If he
And-
becomes available and the Phillies can sign him, I'm all over that.
And he's 25 years old.
And it does help that I have a Vladimir Guerrero baseball jersey, actually. I was up in Toronto a few years back and went to a Blue Jays game. And I was like, you know what? I like Vladdy. I'm going to pick up his jersey. It'd be great if he became a Philly.
He's also got the craziest nationality combo. He's Canadian Dominican because he was born in Canada when Vladdy Sr. was playing for the Expos.
That is, wow. That's cool.
That's like one of the cooler, non-traditional, like.
Because everybody's heard of a Dominican American, but what about a Dominican Canadian?
Yeah, he's Canadian Dominican.
That's
He was
sick.
born in Canada. Now, if Vladdy were to, and this is so funny that we're thinking about shit for next year already, but hypothetically, if Vladdy's a free agent, Phillies are able to sign him, you look at the lineup potentially. Vladdy at first, Stott at second, Trey at short, Bohm at third, JT catching. Question mark in left field. Right now it's Kepler. Center field is Marsh. Right field,
Casty.
Bryce. Vladdy's here. Yeah. And Schwarber is going in on the last year of his deal, which I want the Phillies to do nothing more than re-sign Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, he needs to re-sign.
It raises, a lot of lineup construction discussion if you were to bring in a first baseman and move Bryce from first base, because it really shifts what the lineup can look like.
Yeah, I agree. And this could be some positive change going on in the Phillies organization.
So it's fascinating that Bryce openly said this. He told The Athletic that he doesn't have a preference what position he plays, but it would be awesome if he won his first ever Gold Glove at first base.
I agree. He deserves a nice little Gold Glove.
It's also crazy that Bryce is entering his 14th Major League season.
I'm sorry, his what?
His 14th season is this year.
No, it's not.
At the conclusion of this year, he will tie the amount of years he spent in a Phillies uniform that he did in a Nationals uniform.
No, he's been here for oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord. Now
granted, you can kind of subsidize some of the years he's been here, because one of them was obviously the COVID shortened 2020 season, and then the 2022 season he only played in 99 games because he got hit in the face and had his injuries and such, and still fucking went on a tear. But yeah, Bryce is entering year 7 in a Phillies uniform, and we are more than halfway through the original 13-year contract that Bryce Harper signed.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You're making me feel old, man.
Tell me about it. Year 2 of the podcast was when Bryce signed here.
Oh my God.
The year before, we were banging hand over fist in the small studio to sign Jake Arrieta that offseason.
Yeah. And look how that turned out.
And then it was Bryce Harper's here, and then the whole world changed. It's crazy that, and then I saw a report today too that Bryce and the Phillies are working on the ground level of an extension past the 2031 season to keep Bryce here even longer.
Nice.
which, like, of course.
Yeah.
It's also crazy that, like, it's within reach with the way he's hit home runs in full seasons. You look at, 2019, 35 home runs. You look at 2021, 35 home runs. You look at last year, 30 home runs. Even 2023, when he hit 21 and missed, 40 some odd games. Bryce has 336 career home runs. He's going to hit his 500th career home run at some point, and it's going to be in a Phillies uniform.
And that is going to be so beautiful when that happens. I'm already looking forward to it.
Like, he's played 13 years. Let's do a little math here just for, like, law of averages. 336, divide that by 13. Basically, on average, he's hit about 26 home runs a year in his career. So you take 336 minus 500, it's 164. Divide that by 26. In the next 3 years, next 6 years is when Bryce could hit 500.
Yep.
Which would be the final year of the 13-year contract.
Yeah.
If not sooner.
If not sooner, I could see him doing it. It would make sense for him to do it in the final year of the contract. Just be like, y'all rewarded me with this, so why not? I finish up my bargain with you guys in the final year of my contract, just so you can give me a little bit extra.
I can't believe Bryce Harper's been playing professionally since he was 19.
I know. That's some NHL shit right there.
Like, that normally, like, that's normal for, like, the like, Latino
NHL.
players, because they come over at such a young age that they're ready to rock and roll by the time they're 18, 19 years old, because they've been in teams' academies since they were 12, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And you kind of fast track them almost if they've got the talent. Like, I think Juan Soto was 18, I think, when he made his debut.
That sounds right, because he was a baby. He was genuinely a baby.
I've told you the fun Juan Soto story before, right?
I believe so.
About his first career home run being before his major league debut.
Yes, I do remember that.
Fucking love that stat. I also love that people are just doubting this Phillies team. And earlier this week, Jesus Luzardo pitched. And, brother, let me tell you, I was already a fan of Jesus Luzardo. I hated that he pitched for the Marlins because I thought he was so freaking good.
Yeah.
I love this dude so much. He's throwing absolute heat this spring training. I want to pull up the tweet because I believe the ever so amazing Alex Coffey tweeted the stat here. Pitch velocity. Jesus Luzardo. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Top 5 pitches. 97, 97, 97.3, 97.4, 97.6.
Jesus Christ.
Mind you, the day before, Christopher Sanchez was throwing 98 with ease.
That's insane. All right.
Luzardo would be a number 2 on a lot of teams in Major League Baseball. He's potentially going to be your number 4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah, because he ain't taking over from Wheeler. He ain't taking over from Nola. He ain't taking over from Ranger.
Well, I think the rotation. I think the rotation's going to go Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, and then Ranger, Luzardo.
Yeah, I agree.
Or you do the split because Luzardo and Ranger are lefties, and you put one of them third to break up.
That's exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Which, I mean, if Luzardo's throwing like that, hachi machi. Also, did you see the quote from Ranger Suarez this week? He got asked because he's obviously in the final year of his deal. I'll pull up the exact quote here. He basically said he wants to spend his entire career with the Phillies. Quote, "This is my childhood club. All I think about is staying here."
Nice.
I was like, that is the
I love
most
that.
that's the most soccer quote I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, he wants to
But it's
stay.
so true. Like we signed Ranger Suarez, and I've been such a Ranger fan from the moment I found out about him. We signed
Mhm.
Ranger Suarez as an international free agent in 2012.
Good Lord.
He's 29. He was born in 1995. We signed him in 2012. So when he was 16,
Yeah.
if my math is correct.
Damn. That's some soccer
Yes.
shit right there.
16 or 17 years old, we signed Ranger.
That is
And I've
absolutely
been such a fan of his from day one, simply because he's got the best name like ever. Ranger Suarez is a winner's name, and Ranger is a winner.
yes.
I want nothing more than for Ranger to be here. Like, I hope they figure out a contract. Obviously, he signed Scott Boras, so you're going to have to deal with Scott Boras in terms of contract extension and stuff. But I want nothing more than Ranger Suarez to be a Philly for his entire career.
Yes. He deserves to stay. And that'll be awesome.
But I think one last thing here on the Phillies, when we're looking, we're sitting here March 5th, 22 days away from opening day down in DC.
Mhm.
Who's somebody that, this name or names can kind of be fluid, and we can change it up until the season starts when we do our predictions closer to opening day. Who's somebody that like you're banking on having like a season that really like shines and has a lot of people being like, oh shit, like they're popping off? Doesn't have to be somebody like Bryce, but like somebody
No,
that you're like thinking is like could be a breakout candidate, or like an under the radar, not expecting it, and they just, kind of come to life.
I'm saying Maxi Kepler. I really think he's going to have a great year in Philadelphia. He's been one of my favorite players to watch for a while now. And the fact that we went out and got him for basically dirt cheap, I'm excited to see him cook in Philadelphia. It's about time he gets his laurels.
I could not agree with you more. I fucking love Max Kepler. I think he is poised to have a phenomenal year. And another player that I'm thinking of in the same vein too, number one, because he's healthy. Number two, he's got some newly added dad strength to go along with the dad strength he already had.
Yep.
I think Bryson Stott's going to bounce back to like 2022, 2023 Bryson Stott.
Oh, I really hope so. I believe he has it in him, and I really hope he is able to bounce back.
Dealing with that elbow injury last year clearly hampered him. And as
Yeah.
soon as that news came out, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I also think he's going to be more prepared for the fatherhood aspect of things, because I think he and Drew, which congratulations to Drew and Bryson, they're having a baby boy July of 2025. So it'll be around the All-Star break.
Nice.
So that
So he'll be
also
able to
helps.
take time off
And I think he's more prepared for like what to expect from fatherhood now that he's obviously gone through it once with their baby girl. But I think Bryson's going to surprise a lot of people with how well-rounded he's going to be again compared
yeah.
to last year. Like defensively, he was obviously great, but I think he's going to really step it up at the plate again and be closer to like the 285 to 288 batting average, 20 some odd home runs, driving in runs from that 6-hole. I'm excited for the bounce back Bryson Stott season.
Yes, it's going to be so great when he has a great year on defense at the plate and just shuts everybody up.
I'm very excited. And I'm also excited about being back at the bank, the
Yeah.
warm summer air,
Yes.
letting my calves breathe in my Foco Shortalls, Harrison. I can't wait
Yes,
to
sir.
break those bad boys out down at the bank this season. you can get your FOCO shortballs now and your overalls, your officially licensed Phillies gear from our friends at FOCO, the leaders in forever collectibles. They just launched the Kelly Green Phillies overalls as well that look absolutely spectacular. You'll be looking like the Fanatic in no time. Use our link in the description. Shop everything officially licensed Philadelphia sports gear, including Phillies overalls, Phillies shortballs, bobbleheads, hats, you name it, they've got it. Shout out to FOCO. We love FOCO here at Underground. We've been working with them for quite some time. They're coming up on being one of our long-standing partners, dating back to the 2023 postseason when they sent me some overalls to rock with the people. And we love FOCO. They are simply the best. Use our link in the description. Shop everything FOCO's got to offer. And we thank FOCO for sponsoring the podcast. Harrison, let's talk some fly guys. I'll shift the direction to you as the trade deadline looms. How are we feeling about the boys on the ice?
You know, they have been playing fine recently. Again, I've said this so many times. I have not expected playoffs out of them at all. But even in losses, they look fun to watch. That loss against Pittsburgh in overtime, especially being a good case of that. It was a fun game. Matvei Michkov is everything that we expected him to be. He's tied for second in points by a rookie, tied for first in goals by a rookie, tied for second in assists with a rookie. He's literally having the same exact season as Macklin Celebrini right now. And I like the trade that we sent out Farabee and Frost for Kuzmenko because Kuzmenko's been playing pretty damn well in Philadelphia to start off his career out here. It sucks that we had to lose Beezer and Frosty, but, all's fair in love and war. And yesterday's loss to the Flames was a tough one, but they've had our number the entire season. Michkov looked good in the shootout against the Jets, and that was an impressive win we got over them. And they are one of two teams that matter in the Wells Fargo Center right now because the Philadelphia Wings also are playing pretty damn well. And we just are ignoring a certain basketball team that plays in the Wells Fargo Center this year because they don't matter. Tyrese Maxey matters, Jared McCain matters, but not the team.
Did you see the Scott Lawton Last Supper photo? I talked about it on Monday's pod. He posted a picture. They had a team dinner at his house and recreated the Last Supper poses and everything.
That's awesome. I love the team is just fun. They're a bunch of good dudes who like to mess around with each other. Yeah. I love it.
And I did see a report because obviously like Scott Lawton's been in trade rumors and everything. I saw something that Lawton's like talked with the organization that he wants to stay. So hopefully they do right by him and we'll see what happens. I hope he stays.
He's a flyer. He better not. I hope to God they don't let him leave because this man is a flyer. He is meant to be a flyer.
So. But yeah, anything else on the fly guys before we round out with the boys over at the Soob?
As long as we finish above the Penguins this season, I'll consider the season a success.
And our Flyers talk there brought to you by our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. You want to rep Underground Sports Philadelphia. You want to rep the Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers, the Union, and of course, all of our podcasts here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. PHI Apparel Company is the place to do it. Their unique designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out in the crowd. Go to phiapparel.co, and when you go to checkout, use code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your next merch order. Again, that's phiapparel.co, code UNDERGROUND, 10% off your next merch order from our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. We shift to the final segment and talk about those DOOPing boys over at the Soob, the Philadelphia Union. Since we last recorded, I talked about it a little bit on Monday's episode. They beat Cincinnati at home in the home opener. They've got another game this weekend away at New England. And if you guys know me, I hate New England. I hate the city of Boston. So all of those teams can fuck right off. Worst city in America, in my opinion. I will not be taking any further questions at this time. But we talked about this last week, Harrison, before the Cincinnati game. We said the stretch of New England, Nashville, St. Louis for the Union should all be wins. Those were the 3 games that we were looking at the month of March that the Union should come away with wins. Inter Miami, you don't know if Messi's playing or not. It's at Miami, so you kind of take it with a grain of salt. You can't really gauge that game until it happens. And then Cincinnati, we even said, like, hey, if you get a draw, great. That's a team that's been a thorn in our side for years. Make of it what you will. You get a dominant home win in your home opener. And now the outlook for me is you still have the mission to win these 3 games against New England first on Saturday, home to Nashville on Sunday, March 16th at 2:25 p.m. Eastern, and then March 22nd, home to St. Louis. The Union could be sitting at 5-0,
They could be.
by the time that Inter Miami game comes around.
And that would be absolutely amazing. And if we're sitting at 5-0, who knows? Maybe we pull off the upset of the year and just smack around Lionel Messi and his Inter Miami folk.
And that's like one of those games that, like, you don't really know how it's going to play out until, like I said, till the game shows up and everybody's, deemed playing or not. But Union are top of the table right now, and they have the overall top spot because of goal differential. And it's, New England is 0-1-1. Nashville's 0-1-1. St. Louis is 0-2, and those 2 are draws. They're 3 teams you should beat. You should be able to beat them. And Miami right now is 1 win, 1 draw.
Yeah, we
maybe shock some people.
We could play them very well, and I like how this team looks. They're playing very well right now. They're very cohesive as a unit. So, yeah, I like I like our odds this year. Are the Union back? They could be back.
I like the way they're playing. I was also talking to the boy, the homie, Jimmy King, who covers the Union for Philly Sports Network, before the home opener, and basically, like, I'm working on getting Jimmy on the show. I want to try to get him on like once a month to kind of be like a guest spot, talk a little Union with us, and have that kind of crossover, because myself and Liam, 2 Philly sports outlet owners, doing our thing, and I have a ton of respect for Liam and everybody at Philly Sports Network, and I think Jimmy does a damn good job covering the team and working on just integrating more and more of the independent content creator space onto this show, and having that platform for them to come on and shine with us and kind of just do the collaboration thing that we all should be doing in this space. So working on getting Jimmy on the show, hopefully soon. I'm thinking after the Miami game, see how the first month of the season goes, half month, if you will. And then hopefully get Jimmy on pretty regularly throughout the season.
Yeah, I like that.
And while you're at it, guys, visit Binho Board, our link in the description. We love Binho here. It's paper football meets foosball for the next big tabletop gaming experience. Use our link in the description. Shop everything Binho's got to offer. Hopefully the Philadelphia Union boards come back in stock sooner rather than later. They're currently sold out, but they do have officially licensed Philadelphia Union Binho boards, plus a whole slew of other boards, accessories, merchandise, and apparel. Use our link in the description, and when you go to check out, use code BinhoBennett62. That's code BinhoBennett62, and you'll get 10% off your next order from our friends at Binho. Again, code BinhoBennett62 when you use our link in the description, and you'll get 10% off any order from our friends at Bino. Harrison, any final thoughts before we hop up on out of here?
Saquon Barkley and Zack Baun are here to stay, and that just makes me a happy man.
Oh, yeah, speaking of Saquon Barkley, I meant to bring this up. I now remember it. He filed for a trademark for Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. Yes, sir.
That's all we got for you guys on this one. Make sure you're following us on the socials at Underground PHI across the board. This weekend, I'll also be at the Wings game. Hopefully they get back on track and get a win. They made some big time trades over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully they get back to their winning ways, because I need to see those boys in the postseason. But I'll be there Saturday night. So if you're going to be at the Wings game, hit your boy up. Let me know. Would love to connect. Follow us on the socials at Underground PHI. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. It does go a long way for helping this show and all of our shows continue to grow. Also, shout out to Casey and Owen. They absolutely crushed it. Their first credentialed media event down at St. Petersburg, IndyCar. Just unbelievable content that they were able to get. And there's so much more that we're pumping out in the very near future that you won't want to miss. But kudos to them. Third franchise here at Underground that has gotten credentialed media access, joining this show and OTB. Pretty cool
that
stuff.
OTB trip was a good ass time.
We love OTB summers, baby.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, shout out to Casey and Owen. They are fucking crushing it, and you should be subscribed to the Underground Circuit as they approach their 100th episode in just a couple of weeks, which is perfect timing because the first F1 race will align with their 100th episode of the season. So shout out to them. We love having them here. They're a huge part of our network, and a whole lot more big stuff coming. But make sure you subscribe so we can keep doing more dope shit like that. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Leave a like on the video, drop a comment in the comment section, and click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. And this show is proudly presented by the city of Vineland. And the city of Vineland, if you're a company looking to expand, relocate, or you're a new business startup, selecting the right location is critical to your success. Vineland, New Jersey offers both an affordable business location and an excellent quality of life. The city's economic development department is a one-stop source for moving your project through the development and approval process, and their goal is to make this process as smooth as possible and to provide the fastest turnaround times in the region. If you're considering potential locations for your operation, contact the Vineland Economic Development Team at 856-794-4100. That's 856-794-4100. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems, our presenting partner for all breaking news here at Underground Sports Philadelphia, and Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast. This has been episode number 722 of Underground Sports Philadelphia. For Harrison, I'm your boy KB. I'll catch you guys on Monday to get your week started off on the right foot. As we get one more week closer to the madness, we'll have some news on our March Madness bracket challenge and a whole bunch of content coming out over the next couple of weeks with the college basketball tournament. So stay tuned for that. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. We're signing off. Peace.